Okay, we are now joined by Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Tool Chevrolet. Jimmie's currently first in the points standings. He has held that position for 11 of the 13 weeks of the season. 2 wins here at Pocono, both in 2004, but he does have 15 top 10s in 22 starts here. Jimmie, if you can open up talking about your approach coming into this weekend.
Yeah, I think the way we ran here last year, and especially with the repave, our cars had a lot of speed in them, and I'm excited to come back and see what we have. I mean, we're setting up in the summer stretch right now, and I think that this weekend will kind of play into what we have at the 400, the Brickyard 400 here before long. So, all in all, I'm excited to be here. I think our cars have been fast. I think we've been good on pit road, and I enjoyed the summer months. And it's right here, it's right around the corner, and looking forward to hot, slick racetracks. Although it's not hot and slick right now, we need boats. But at some point, we'll get there.
We'll open it up for questions. We'll start here with Claire. We'll get Lee.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Did you talk with NASCAR about the restart? You've heard a lot of discussion about it over this week. It was fascinating, actually, and thinking about tweaks or what could be done or not needed and that sort of thing. What's your take on it now that you've had a little bit of time to digest it? And did you go talk to NASCAR?
I tried. I did a little bit after the race, and then sat and digested things this week. And I'm going to go and speak to them now that we have a lot of time this morning since it's raining, and just walk through it some more. It's a interesting thing that took place, in my opinion. I feel that in NASCAR and in auto racing, there are very few moments where maybe a penalty could be drawn or a foul could be drawn, like we'd see in the NBA Finals or something right now. There's flopping that goes on. I really believe that in the restart zone to the start-finish line, that Juan just didn't go. And in my opinion, I think he played it right. I think he was smart and let me get out ahead of him, and let them make the call on me to keep me from having the lead and winning the race. So, it's interesting. I really don't have anything against Juan for doing it. As racers, we need to work any and every angle we can to win a race. I mean, that's what we do. We race. And I put a little more weight in the officiating and exactly how the rule reads and the way the rule's intended to be enforced. And then I think we can look at enforcing it differently. I think everybody looking at it afterwards can see that Juan just didn't go. So what happens then? I mean, you get out of that restart zone. What happens then from there to the start-finish line? And I think with the data we have and the technology we have today, we have the tools to maybe make a better decision and make a better decision at that point in time. It's difficult after the race, people to look at stuff and say, oh, well, that didn't work out. I mean, the race has been taken away from us. The championship points, bonus points are gone. It's very difficult at that point to do the right thing. But in today's world of technology, I hope that we can figure out, one, exactly how does that rule read? I mean, I kind of get it, but from the restart zone to the start-finish line, if a guy breaks or has trouble, NASCAR has the ability to make the call and say that they had trouble and it's fine to go. If someone flops, what then? If you think about the restart zone at Indy, you have a couple hundred yards from the end of that zone to the start-finish line. And if I'm the leader and on the outside, I could let 5 or 6 cars go by and then get to the start-finish line and trap them all down and put them in position to be penalized. So essentially, Juan found a loophole. He found a loophole in the officiating and worked it to his advantage. So sure, I'm mad I didn't win the race. I'm not necessarily mad at him, but I think we need to look at how we officiate and how we can regulate that and keep that from happening. Because Dover, it's a very small distance from the zone to the finish line. But at other tracks, it's a huge distance. Here, it's pretty big. I mean, I'd have to imagine it's a couple hundred yards as well. And you could pin 4 or 5 people into that position if they take the bait, which I took the bait, clearly.
They said it was a no-brainer, but not for you. I mean,
not for me, not for the 15, not for the 99, not for the 18. I mean, all these guys have talked to me, and I just saw Clinton. He's like, dude, I was on the brakes. I mean, like, I stomped on the brakes to stop. He goes, I knew you were in trouble. I'm like, yeah, I kind of figured I was too. I was just hoping that they would see the rest of you check up. So, it is what it is. I mean, I can't change it, can't do anything about it. But moving forward, I think we can prevent that situation from happening again.
All right, we're going to go Lee, Jim Noble, Mike Hembry, and Reed.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Would you get rid of the restart zone if given? I'm over here,
where
Jimmy.
You are. Oh, I heard your voice kind of.
No, it's all right. Would you be in favor of getting rid of that restart zone as a possibility? Because, I mean, you know, there were times when we used to herald drivers like Ron Hornaday, who really was talented at getting everything he could get out of that restart.
In the end, it depends on what NASCAR wants to happen there. In the way I've understood the rule is they want all the lanes to come up to speed together, and if possible, be side by side into turn one. That's been the goal and the way I've interpreted things myself. If they want to let the leader have an advantage, you know, then I'm fine with whatever. I just need to better understand the rule. I think I've played into trying to do the right thing, trying to maintain pace car speed when the pace car pulls off. We see guys that really choke up the field at that point, which the way they say the rule works, you're not supposed to do that. But as you get somebody backing up or getting out of the line of sight of the leader has an advantage and can take advantage of that. So I'm cool with whatever it is. I just want it to be crystal clear what we can and cannot do. And I guess I find myself trying to do the right thing more often. And I feel like at Phoenix this year, I got taken advantage of on that last restart. And then clearly what happened at Dover. So whatever it is, I'm fine. And if we want the leader to have full advantage, then take the limitations away. Let's really give them the opportunity to take that restart. And if not, then let's enforce it properly the other way.
Jim
Noble, ESPN, different topic. Tony Stewart's back in victory lane. He's mad at the media again. Is Tony relevant now that all this is, the world's back to its natural order?
With the chase, anything's possible. That's the beauty of the changes NASCAR made a few years ago in the chase, and I know the 14 hasn't been off to the start that they wanted to have, but if you make the chase, you have a chance to win the championship. And I've never counted that 14 team out. And happy that he's back, mad and all.
Mike Henry, USA Today Sports. If there's no clarification from NASCAR or changes in processes or whatever, does that put you in a position where you would be more likely to try to do what Juan did in the same kind of situation?
For sure. I mean, it's something that I've thought about in the past, but I've always been concerned that if I didn't beat, I feel like my best chance is to beat the car next to me, second place if he's inside or out, to beat him to turn one to have clean air and not give someone the ability to side draft me. And but I guess I didn't think it through far enough. And if somebody would take the bait as I did, and the reason it was easier for me to take the bait was lining up on the inside. Unless you're door to door, and when you get door to door, wheel to wheel, you lose sight of the guy, the leader, and it's very difficult to stay with him at that point. And being on the outside gives the leader that opportunity to have it be in a blind, put the second place guy in a blind spot. So. It worked perfectly. I mean, it really was well executed and taken care of. But in the end, what is clear to me is regardless of the reason, and if you cause a pile up, and if it takes a lap, I tried the entire front stretch to give it back. I'm half throttle past the start finish line trying to give it back, but he didn't take it. So what is crystal clear to me is you just stand on the brakes and stop and give it back at all costs. Otherwise, even if I fell to fifth, it would have been a heck of a lot better than 17th.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. As out of whack as the restart was, would it be totally impractical for the flag man to throw a yellow and line them up again the way they do sometimes at the start of a race?
First thought, no. It would probably be something to do, but our crowd and the way people try to work things, man, we could have 5 or 6 of those yellows. That's just a whole nother can of worms to open up. So I don't know. I haven't thought about that, but I would imagine we'd create a bigger mess maybe doing that. And I think with the technology we have today, we could make maybe not an instant call, but within a lap or so, can have some good evidence to help make a better decision.
Bob
Hocker, Sporting News. I assume that if you're in the restart zone and you do brake, that you run the risk of being called for not keeping reasonable speed, correct? Would that be the one part that would be a hurdle or putting it back in NASCAR's hands again?
You know, the leader's supposed to maintain pace car speed once the pace car pulls off into the zone and then go when he wants. You know, that's been in question. You know, guys take a different pace from when the pace car pulls off into the zone, and it hasn't been really enforced. So I guess there's more leeway there than there is beating the way it's been called so far, the way calls have gone, than beating the leader to the start-finish line. Because really, that's at the end of the day, the way the calls go dictate how we respond. You know, you play those odds.
Hi, Jimmy. Candace Smith, drafting the circuits. I want to change the subject again. This time about your performance here at Pocono. As it was mentioned, you swept in 2004, and we haven't seen you win since then. I think of you as somebody who wins everywhere. With the repave last year, with the Gen 6 car now, is this a track you think you can put another W in the column, or is it just really about points? And I mean, I can't imagine for you it's just about points. It's got to be about the win, right?
No, points really are everything. I mean, our first goal is to make the chase, and then you know, championship points or bonus points going into the chase from a race winner, top of mind as well. So it's both. I feel like last year we had really the dominant car, especially in the fall race, and had a soft tire going into turn one, and had a big mess on the last restart. But the track's been good to us. I think we've had far more speed than our results show, and it's such a weird race from a pit strategy call that memory is telling me we've been burned a few times on having a great car, and guys took some chances with strategy that it ended up ahead of us. So at the end of the day, I think we'll be a factor when the race finishes.
Follow up real quickly. Matt Kenseth has 3 wins. You have 2, but we see Toyota is struggling in their engines, etc. Talk a little bit about Chevy and why you're happy they're your manufacturer, if you will.
Well, we all face our challenges. I think, you know, the Gibbs cars have had some great speed, probably the fastest cars on all types of tracks. The reliability has been a little bit of an issue. I feel like we've had a lot of speed and maybe lacked a little to some of the Gibbs cars on the mile-and-a-half tracks, but we've had the reliability. So, you know, there's always a challenge that a team's faced with in the manufacturer. You know, we're all developing a new product this year, and you know, I've been with Chevy my whole life, and I know how hard they work to get stuff right, and very proud of their work again, and my cars have been great. We always want to be faster, but you know, we've got a few months before we really need to count on that peak speed.
All right, we'll wrap up back here with Jeff.
Jeff Ross, ESPN. Jimmy, you've talked about the fact that you weren't mad at Juan for what he did, and you've talked about the rule and what you'd like to see changed or not changed. Do you think what you did, now that you've had a week to think about it, was it all a mistake?
One more time.
From your perspective, do you think what you did in the car Sunday was a mistake?
After the start-finish line, yes. After the start-finish line, looking back, I should have been like the 15 and been all over the brake pedal. I mean, you could see in the video he is all over the brakes trying not to beat the 42 to the finish line. And I think the way I understand it, you have the front stretch to kind of give it back. And then once I was in turn one, he pulled in behind me. I knew my bed was made, and I was hoping that they were going to say he had an issue and, you know, notice that he wasn't up to speed the whole front straightaway, and the call would come my way, and it didn't. So my mistake was expecting the call to come my way, and I can't count on that. And especially in come chase time, if I lose a shot at winning a race and I end up 5th, that's a heck of a lot better than finishing 17th from hoping the call would go my way.